Hello guys, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. Myself, I'm doing fine. I welcome you to Verified Soul and also in this video. Today I want to handle a very serious topic that has been disturbing many people. But first of all, I want to tell you that I'm not a lawyer. I'm just speaking from experience and also deep research. And this topic is on the consent letter, the child's travel consent letter. This question has been raised by many single parents with children who have won the diversity visa and they want to immigrate with the children. And most of the questions have been around how should I go ahead and immigrate or move to the United States with my kid? Do I need to have the consent letter or I will be blocked from moving out of my country with the child? And this is what I want to clearly discuss in this video, and I hope it will help a great deal of people out there. First of all, remember that the country always protects the children. The children have their rights. You cannot just decide to move out of the country with a child. The child is legally protected by the law. And there are certain things that you should have for you to move outside the country with your child. And I will not handle those documents, all of them, but generally you have to prove that you are the parent to the child. That you must approve. And more so if the child has not your last name. You don't share the last name with your child. You'll have to provide some documents to prove that he or she is your child. That should be, for example, the birth certificate, signed document from the court showing that you're the parent, and so on and so forth. But in today's video, let's talk about the consent. And I want to start like this. I will tackle this issue in three stages or three aspects. And the first aspect is about the married couple, but one couple is not willing to immigrate. Just one of them is willing. So one parent is willing to immigrate, but the other one is not willing. And they have the children, and they are currently married. In that case, if the parent immigrating to the United States needs to go with the children, then the other partner will have to sign a consent letter, and it must be notarized. That is, before a court. It must be notarized, stamped by a lawyer or an advocate or a court. So both the parents, they sign the consent letter, and more so, the parent that is not immigrating the children should sign that consent letter, and it must be notarized. That is the case of the married couple, and one parent is not willing to immigrate. The second aspect is about the divorced or the separated couple. In this case, if you are legally separated or divorced, remember that you still, both of you have some legal custody, and that legal custody of your child, of your children, is clearly indicated in the divorce papers or the separation documents. And remember guys, we have basically four types of child custody, and I'm going to clearly define them here for us to deal with this divorced or separated case. The first type of custody that we have is the legal custody. And the legal custody gives the parent or one parent the legal decision making for the child. That is based on the child education, child health care, and religion. So that is the legal custody. One parent is given the right to make decision and obligation of the child based on schooling, healthcare, and religion. Number two, we have the physical custody. The physical custody gives a parent the right to live with the child. So you have the right to live with the child, and of course, with that goes providing clothing, providing meals, transportation daily, and so on. You are given the right to live with the child. That is the physical custody. Number three, we have the sole custody. And the sole custody, just as the name says, one parent is given almost all the rights. He is given the legal custody right and all other rights over the child. But the other parent still has some access rights. That is to mean the parent has the rights to visit and see the child. However, all the rights have been laid upon one single parent, apart from the access right. The other parent has the right to visit and see the child as much as they want. And finally, we have the joint custody. When you are divorced or separated and you have the joint custody, it means you have equal rights in making decisions over the child. If you want to immigrate, you have to both of you sign. If you have to educate the children, both of you have to agree. If it is about the stay or living, all of you have to agree where the child should live, at what time. And also every other rights over the child, both of you enjoy. So those are basically the four types of custody. And now let's come to this second aspect, the divorced and legally separated, having understood about the different types of custody. If you are separated and you have the legal custody, the physical custody, and the joint custody, the other parent should have to sign the consent letter, and it must be notarized because you're moving to the United States. Some other countries may not require a notarized one, but since you're moving to the United States, you must notarize the consent letter. Both the parents should sign, and before an advocate or a law court. But if you are divorced or separated and you enjoy the sole custody, you don't have to have the other parent sign a consent letter, but you will need to go to the airport or to the exit point with your court documents that shows your sole custody. The sole custody documents from the court, you should present them at the point of exit. But you will not have to have the other parent sign the consent letter. I hope that is now clear. Now let's come to the third aspect or the third scenario, the single parent. And by single parent, it means that at the time of conception, conceiving your child, you are not married. At the time of delivering the child, you are also not married. And this is important. No figure presented himself to claim paternity of the child during the child delivery. If during the child delivery no figure presented himself to claim the paternity of the child, and that means on the birth certificate there is no fatherly figure, there is no man's name appearing as the father's child, then you as the single mother, you have the full custody over the child. And that means you can control everything that regards the child. You don't have to have any consent from anyone. I hope that is clear. So if you're a single parent and the birth certificate does not indicate any paternal figure, then you become the full custodian of your child. And you don't need any consent letter to move with the child or to immigrate with the child. But remember, even if on the birth certificate there is no name for the father, still the father to the child can go before a court and claim paternity. And if they do so and the court approves, of course they'll have to do the DNA and all those things. And if the court approves that you are the father, then you will have to sign the consent letter for the child for the mother to immigrate with the child. But if no one has ever claimed paternity and it is not shown on any child's document, then you have the full legal rights over the child as the mother. And that means you can move or immigrate with your child without no bother from anybody. I hope I've answered that clearly. As I come to the end of this video, remember that both the parents can be given sole custody. If the father proves that the mother is unfit for the child's safety, the father can be given the full custody, the sole custody. If the mother can prove that the father is unfit for the child's safety, then the mother can be given the sole custody. And we've said with the sole custody, you don't need any consent letter for you to immigrate with the child. Only the sole custody court document. And with that, guys, I come to the end of this video. I know it will be very important for majority of you, and I've answered many questions regarding this issue. And if so, please consider liking the video and also subscribing to the channel if you have not yet done so. And let's meet in the next video.